Yoo-hoo! What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into Coffee with Brodes. It's Wednesday. I thought it was Tuesday. This whole week's throwing me off because of what happened Monday with Labor Day. So I don't even know what day it is. It's Wednesday. I lied. It's Wednesday. Here we are, hump day, as we enter the first game against the Atlanta Falcons. I cannot believe it. It's close, but yet it's so far away at the same time. It's right there. You could smell it. But at the same time, you're at a spot where, can you really start breaking down the game right now? Can it happen right now? Or do you need to wait until Thursday, Friday kind of thing? I'm excited, though, because I am recording an episode of Schmooze today that will drop Thursday morning at 10 a.m., like always, with an Eagles beat reporter. So it's going to be fun to dive into the ins and outs of things and take a look at Jonathan Gannon and Nick Sirianni and some of the things that we have seen throughout training camp and preseason and how much stock to put in certain things. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you, everyone, so much for hopping on board this morning. It's going to be fun. I need this coffee today. I'll tell you what, I need it. I need it big time. I woke up thinking, God damn, I need that coffee. I had to wait about 20, 25 minutes, get this all set up. I don't drink coffee before the show. You don't drink coffee before the coffee. So I wait. Here we are. Let's give this a good whirl. That's what I like, baby. That's what I like. So where do we begin things today? Well, unfortunately, Aaron Nola sucked. Aaron Nola was bad. Which brings us right into Jason here in the comments. Good morning, brother. Is it Nola's pitch selection or his execution? Well, I mean, it could be a combination of both throughout, right? But we already had this conversation before about who's calling the game. JT, Joe Girardi, Caleb Cotham before. There's so much that goes into and so much that's involved with a game plan before where, you can kind of point the finger at basically everybody. But I would say execution because you're watching him, first off, have zero bite on his curveball. It's not as if a curveball is a bad thing to do when you have two strikes on a hitter. You're getting almost there. You're getting 2/3 the way there, literally, and then your final pitcher not executing well enough. On top of that, you're leaving pitches over the middle of the plate, right? You're throwing one to Christian Yelich down the middle of the pipe on a full count. I got you. It's a full count, and you kind of have to, throw a pitch that you're probably you don't want to throw exactly, but whatever you do, you can't just put it down the pipe like that. Marshawn setting up inside low. The pitch is going outside, middle of the plate area. So it goes on execution more than anything else. If he actually executed what Marshawn was looking for, who knows what the results would have been, but it was terrible. Braves ball, and this is weird because unless Braves is not the Atlanta Braves, how many games back are we? Well, the Phillies are 2.5 games back. Now, of the wild card, I believe we're in a similar spot for the wild card because before it was 1.5 games back of the Braves, and it was 2 of the wild card, and now they just lost. So let's look at the wild card. They're 2 games back of the wild card. That's where they're at. They're 2.5 games back of the division, 2 games back of the wild card with just over 20 games to play. So, in theory, it's in reach. We figured we'd be having this conversation throughout. Oh, they're close. Mathematically, that's the big word. Once you start trotting out the word mathematically, it tells you that your team's not as good as what we want them to be, but they are close because the numbers tell you they are close, not because they're actually a strong team that you believe in that can execute. And why would that be the case? Well, because you have Aaron Nola starts like this, because you have to pitch a bullpen game because Matt Moore stinks, because your defense is horrible and Freddie Galvis should make that play when the opposing pitcher hits a ground ball, right? These are the results that you get, a frustrating season and mathematically being involved when all these issues constantly show their heads. Christopher states that Nola has been junked the past few weeks. He had one good game where he pitched real solid and lost. Is he injured? No, I don't think he's injured. I know that Ruben Amaro Jr. really stressed the mechanics side of things, which that could be it. We saw Rhys Hoskins was it last year? It might have even been last year, where he was just awful. And he was a mess at the plate, and it was all about the approach and the way that some of his things were going down mechanically as well, with where his hands were, where his bat was laying, and he had to tinker with some things. And it's sort of like a golf swing all the time, right? You're constantly changing. You're constantly in your head. It's a very it's a very big game upstairs in your brain. So you're overthinking all these issues, and you have to start tweaking your concepts and whatnot. And that's where Aaron Nola is going to have a big offseason. He's going to have to go into the offseason saying, I have to change this. I have to change that. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be the golf swing, tinker approach. That's where Aaron Nola is. Danny says it's never too early for Birds talk. I understand that. I understand, but I'm saying in terms of excitement level, it's Wednesday, right? It's so close to Sunday, but it's not at the same time. Think about the excitement level for Friday and Saturday when you're talking about the Eagles compared to Tuesday and Wednesday. You're not wrong. We've actually been talking Eagles, whether it's on 97.5 The Fanatic or here in Coffee with Brodes. We've been talking about Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, Jonathan Gannon, Fletcher Cox, Steven Nelson, Darius Slay, Miles Sanders, Quez Watkins, Devontae Smith, Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Reagor. We've been talking about Andre Dillard, Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks. For how long now? Months. The Eagles are 24/7. I understand that. Just the anticipation, the build-up, the juice that really gets going. And who knows, maybe tomorrow when you see Thursday Night Football, you see the Dallas Cowboys logo, you despise it. Maybe that's enough to just turns the knob automatically and just makes a major flip in juice level. We'll see, though. We'll see. I'm pumped. It's just so far, yet so close. I won't be necessarily doing a pregame show, Jonathan. But what I'll be doing is your standard, your classic Football Friday shows. So previewing a game, I'll have a pregame podcast, but I won't necessarily be doing a live stream unless, I put some thought into it and all. But I do have some busy Sundays, so I don't know if adding more to my Sunday is the move. Like, for example, I know we're a little bit of ways, but I will be on the Fanatic after this Eagles game from 7 to 11 p.m. So after the Eagles game on Sunday, we'll have to rock a post-game show, and then we'll also have to do the Fanatic, which will be very exciting. I'm looking forward to, but we got a lot going on game day where I think I'll just do the Football Friday preview podcast, and that'll be sort of my preview show each week. Ethan says, I hope the Bucks and Cowboys end in a tie. Screw them both. I mean, I don't hate Tampa Bay that much, right? I mean, if you're telling me I want them to tie the Cowboys, no, I'd rather the Cowboys just get annihilated. I got no problems with Tom Brady. I love Tom Brady. I love greatness. I love dominance. I love someone that takes control and destroys a league when everybody else in the league is the best at their craft as well. And Tom Brady's just the best of the best of the best of the best that we've ever seen. Yeah, give me more of Tom Brady. I'm full in on Tom Brady. I got no problem with Tom Brady, and I got no problem with the Tampa Bay Bucks. No, I got no idea when the Flyers pod coming out next, man. It's September baseball with the Phillies, and we're getting into the Eagles season. We'll probably be talking about the Flyers in late October once they kind of get the season kicking. That's probably when you'll see something Flyers related next. Why are you anti-Tom Brady, Ethan? Now, this is interesting. Why are you anti-Tom Brady? Because he's great? Because he's literally the best quarterback we've ever seen in the history of the sport, and there might not ever be a more successful player or quarterback ever that we ever see? Why would you want to hate that? See, I want to appreciate that. That's how I am with sports. I appreciate the greatness. I'd rather witness it and appreciate what I'm watching in the moment without hating it. No, I get it. People can hate and respect at the same time. There is a way to do that where it's like, oh, I respect him so much, but I hate him and I root against him. That's fair. I mean, I can get behind it, but I'd rather take the opposite approach where I love it and I'm embracing it and I'm enjoying it. Because it's like, wow, what? I'm admired by what you do. I don't want to hate it. I can't. You're too good at your craft for me to even hate. That's my respect going so far that it's like, I love it. I love it. Oh, stop it. Stop it, Ethan. Stop with the cheating. Please. Please. We're better than this. I figured it was going down that road. I figured it was going to go down some road of cheating. Tom Brady's one of the best quarterbacks ever. Him cheating, these cheat allegations and all. Yeah. No, it's not. Tom Brady's amazing. You're putting way too much emphasis on that, on what he does out there on the field. So I'm just going to have to go in another direction with that. I just don't believe that those stories impact what Tom Brady has been able to do on the football field over 2 decades. My man has been playing for 99 years in this league. All right. He's shown me enough. His first season, I mean, it's just crazy, was 2000. It's 2021. And my man is still winning Super Bowls, flipping teams, going to the next one. It's amazing. How do people look at the Birds and see 10 and 11 wins? I don't get it. I'm just pumped to watch football in general. Last year was torture. Absolutely. I was texting someone last night about the Birds, right? And it was just simple. You excited for the game? Like you pumped for Sunday, just kind of talking about how we felt. And it got thrown in there. You ready for Sunday? Yes. Very nervous, but excited. What is there to be nervous about? I have no nerves because there's no expectations, right? Normally week 1, there's butterflies, there's goosebumps, and maybe there will be just because football is back and there's fans in the stands and it's going crazy. And it's been so long since we were able to really have that in us, right? Like have that right there. But ultimately, I'm not nervous or anything. What is there to be nervous about? Jason Wallace right here wants Jordan Howard to be running back too. My man's on the practice squad, bro. My man's on the practice squad, Jason. He got cut. I was a little surprised by the cut. Going with Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, and Gainwell, and then cutting Jordan Howard and picking him up to the practice squad. I'd imagine you see him at some point. But in terms of talking about running back 2, that's not the that's not where we're at here. Bro, we won 4 games last year. What do you mean, though? What is that in reference to? The nerves? Why be nervous? Because you won 4 games last year. It can't be any worse. Is that the concept you're throwing out there? What do you mean, Apex, when you say, bro, we only won 4 games? We shouldn't be excited. We should be excited. We shouldn't be nervous. We should be nervous. Where are you taking that statement? I just watched your Phillies reaction. I'm a Yankees fan. They got crushed. Yeah, you're starting to see a little bit of a collapse from the Yankees, no? They went on that amazing win streak, and now it's kind of being countered by some losses. I don't know how many in a row it is. I'll find out in just a second, but yeah, they lost. I actually had that game on my TV, on the secondary TV when I had the US Open on and the Phils on at the same time. But yeah, they're in a little bit of a rut. They lost 2 straight to the Blue Jays. They lost 2 straight to the Orioles. So it's what, a 4-game losing streak? People made it seem like it was way worse than that. But when you drop 2 or 3 to the Angels, you drop 2 or 3 to the Orioles, I could see why it's not ideal. Would you split with the A's? I'm just kind of quick glancing here at the schedule. I'm not really dissecting it heavily, but yeah, it's funny watching Yankees fans kind of go up and down that ride as well, just like the Phillies do all the time. Why didn't we trade Ertz? Well, because his compensation, what the Eagles were asking for, and also with his contract and how much he's getting paid on the current deal, teams were not willing to pay Zach Ertz that type of compensation for him, and then look at his contract and say, I want Zach Ertz for that type of money. So it was kind of 2 pieces to the equation on why that all happened the way that it did. And yeah, it seems like Zach Ertz kind of pulled a 180 on how much fun he's having here, how much he's enjoying going to work. He spoke to the media. He said that. He's like, look, I love going to work every day with Fletch, with BG, with Lane, with all these guys. Let's just kind of let's go for it here, And I'm excited for that because I think that makes an interesting offense. And it's funny because I don't necessarily believe it results in more wins, but I think it really does help impact Jalen Hurts. So he's going to help move the chains, going to help with the offense. You got Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, Quez Watkins, Rager, and Devontae Smith, Miles Sanders. You got pieces that can definitely be exciting and can be different and can be used in a very unique way to gain some chunk yards, to gain some, some first downs and all. So it'll help Jalen Hurts with security blanket purposes. Other teams are going to have to game plan and still game plan for Zach Ertz. He's still one of the most methodical tight ends in the game of football, where he might not be taking it to the house like Travis Kelce and George Kittle, but he can, in a very controlled way, just bang, 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 methodically take you downfield. It'll help Hurts. I don't know if it'll necessarily result in a ton of wins. Oh, Apex chimes back in because originally he mentioned, bro, we literally only won 4 games last year, and I didn't know what he was referencing. How are people expecting to win the NFC East? Well, they're expecting it because I agree with you. They shouldn't, but they are because the division's bad. And 2, I have to disagree with you here. What you did last year matters into implying what can happen this season. But first off, in the NFC East, you don't see back-to-back winning teams win the division. It just doesn't happen. When you talk about teams winning the division, it doesn't happen in the NFC East 2 years in a row. So put that into the equation. Now, eventually, you think that would die out and we'll see a repeat division winner. Maybe it's this year with the Washington football team. I don't know. But my point is this. I've seen teams go from 4th to 1st all the time. I've seen teams go from 4th to 2nd all the time. It's not that crazy. You start to play a 4th place schedule instead of a 1st place schedule, which opens up, that possibility. Just because you had 4 wins last year, they could come up with 7 this season, and it wouldn't be looked at as a disaster. And it shouldn't look like it's a disaster, even though they only had 4 wins. You get what I'm saying? So, yes, it matters into looking at who they are this year. At the same time, it's sort of your baseline. It's sort of your guideline. And from there, you adjust. So this is what they were last year, and then you can kind of adjust from there. Yeah, I don't believe high hopes is in play, at least not in my brain. Yeah, exactly. Washington football team. That's a perfect example. Keeping it in-house. The process doesn't understand the Giants hype, and the process is the individual speaking, that is. The process claims or says, I don't understand the Giants hype as long as Daniel Jones is there. I just don't get with it. Yeah, I'm not a big Daniel Jones guy. He shows flashes of some nice plays here and there, but when you watch him, he doesn't have that it factor. He doesn't have, that tone, that demeanor, that body language, that dominant feel with him. And from there, what do you do? Do you just say, all right, screw it, we're not even going to give him a fair chance, let's just move in another direction? Or do you give him opportunities to grow and you bring in someone like you did with Joe Judge and you work together to get him to become one of those players? You either have it or you don't to some degree. Yes, you can become better than what you were in college, what you were at Duke, what you were when you were running a system there, and you can definitely tweak your mechanics and things along those lines. But ultimately, yeah, I don't see it in Daniel Jones. And it could be a possibility where the New York Giants are looking for a quarterback whenever they make that decision that it's time to head into another direction. I don't know where the Giants are health-wise, Connor, to be honest with you. I don't know. I know Barkley's kind of been pushed back a bit just in terms of training camp and just taking off the red jersey. There's a lot happening over there with the early practices where you're making them do up downs, to players retiring during training camp because they can't stand what's going on. The culture there is getting a little hectic and hostile with their approach of tough guy football that just doesn't work in 2021. So there's a lot happening with the New York Giants with their organization. We'll let them worry about theirs. We got enough to worry about over here, so I'll worry about what's happening here first. Do I believe the Phillies can make the wild card? 2 games back with 20 plus to go? Yeah, they can. Do I think they will? No. Can they? Yeah. They're in striking distance. They're probably going to stay within striking distance and then just fall shy. That's my expectations on it. That's sort of my gut feel on it, if you will, is They're involved. They're there. They're 2.5 back, 2 back. They're flirting around all year long, which in years past, they would just collapse. You wouldn't even see this. They'd be 8 games back before you know it with the blink of an eye. So the fact that they're going to stay involved and just fall short in my gut feel scenario, does that get looked at as a growing moment? Does that get looked at as, well, they're on the trajectory to maybe next year get it, where, you're looking at your timeline and you would collapse, you would collapse, you would collapse. Now you're not collapsing. Now you're there. You're not good, but you're there and not collapsing. It's not a good place to be. You're basically looking at it with such a bad baseline that this feels better than what it is. But it's like, hey, at least we're not the Orioles. That's basically what I'm saying. And that's sad. That shouldn't be what it is, but it's sad. Gaudet has a nagging hamstring. Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't paid too much attention to what's going on with the Giants and their receivers. Yeah, you're absolutely right with this statement. A 4-win season this year could be totally different than a 4-win season last year. Yeah, you're right. There could be a different way that happens. I know that sounds crazy, and I don't even anticipate this team, for as many flaws as they have, being so young in so many areas at quarterback, head coach, DC, wide receivers, running back. They're so young and so raw. There's going to be a lot of mistakes made. I still see them being better than last year. Think about what had to go wrong for last year to play out the way that it did, and you got 4 wins. It can't be that disastrous. It can't be that ugly. It can't be that brutal, right? Right. 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 Come on. Tell me I'm right. Right. It can't be right. But you're right. There could be a different feel if you're involved in these games and you're battling in these games and you're just coming up shy late because you need to learn how to win games. You have to learn how to put away teams. And maybe this squad early doesn't know how with their young offense. You need a big drive, 3 minutes to go. Rookie mistake, ran the wrong route, interception. Jalen Hurts tries to squeeze a throw in the middle of the field through a small window. Pass breakup. Oh, wow. Whoa. We got Jake Smithers coming in, just flying in all caps. What's up, Brodes? I'm fired up for some football tomorrow. Then comes in, no caps. Just got my iced coffee. I feel the coffee running through the veins. I can see it in the text. I can see it in the capitals. You got football fire, Jacob. You got the iced coffee getting them all fired up. And I'm fired up because I know that later on I have somewhere to be. And I'm going to pass the Starbucks and I'm going to get myself a venti iced coffee. I went for their apple crisp macchiato the other day. I don't know if I said this yesterday or not. It's all right. It's okay. It's all right. I will say I need to try their pumpkin spice cold brew or is it pumpkin spice cold brew? It's pumpkin something. I downloaded their app, right? A real quick story. I downloaded their Starbucks app so I can order it and then just go pick it up and it's already made waiting for me. So I have to time it out perfectly. So, by the time I get there, it's just made. It's not anything where the ice is melting or anything wild like that. So as I go up there, I ordered a breakfast sandwich too. It was the sausage, Gouda, and cheese on an English muffin. So I go up, there's my food. I'm excited. I'm looking around. I'm like, where's the drink? I was so excited to properly pre-plan my day, pick up my coffee. They didn't even make my damn drink. So everything that I was so excited for and the whole concept, I don't have to wait. I had to sit there and wait anyway, damn it. Disappointing. Definitely disappointing. But I'll tell you what's not disappointing. I have to tell you about my friends at BetQL. You want to get an advantage over your sportsbook? You need to download BetQL, the only app you'll need to make smart bets. Their best bets computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you a best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports and gives you the reasoning behind why you should place the bet. Their model covers everything from spreads, over-unders, and player prop bets. Don't want to use the model and prefer to do research yourself? Wait, I did not like the way that came out. Don't want to use the model and prefer to do research yourself, BetQL has all the necessary tools for your research needs. There is sharp data so you can see who the pros are backing, line movements so you can jump on betting opportunities in real time. Team summaries highlights previous success against the spread and the over-under. And team lineups breaking down news and injury status updates. Plus, you can save all your picks in one place to track your success and winning streaks as well as you view your rank on the leaderboards. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store right now and download BetQL. You can also head to try.betql.co/Brodes to get started now. You can enter the discount code Brodes at payment checkout for 25% off of any of the subscription offerings. You can find all information down below in the description. It's going to be awesome, fellas. It's going to be a good time. Definitely utilize BetQL. I did last year. I made a shit ton of money, and you can use it again this year utilizing promo code Brodes when you sign up. 25% off, information in the description. It's going to be awesome for sure. Have I ever tried the Starbucks pumpkin bread? I have not. I'm looking forward to it, though. Big time. Big time. I've seen, you know what? I've started to dabble with their food more. It's like I'm starting to fall into their cult following. Starbucks is sort of like Chipotle, where once you're in, you don't care if you're spending $18 of double steak bowl anymore. You're constantly going to Chipotle. It's just a cult following, and you're convinced that everything they do is just amazing. Starbucks, I'm starting to fall into that cult following as well, but it started with the coffee, and now it's coffee, and then it's the breakfast sandwich, and now it's coffee. Now I'm starting to look into the pastries a little bit, and I did notice some of the pumpkin bread, some of this, some of that. I'm thinking, all right, here we go. Here we go. I don't even know what that dope is saying, so he's just got to go. If there's one word I can use to describe our Phillies team right now, it'd be bipolar. I could elaborate, but I'm sure by now we all understand how inconsistent they are. Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? You shell Woodruff the night before, you win 12-0. Aaron Nola on the bump, and then you get shelled. It's kind of just, I don't know, a scenario that makes a lot of sense, I guess. But I would call it today must win. You got to win this Brewer series. It's time. Let's go. Kyle Gibson on the bump. Let's make a statement. Show that you are the professional that we believe that you are. Go out there. Be consistent. Keep the pitch count low. I don't want to see 30-plus pitches in the third inning. I don't want to see bad defense by Freddie Galvis. Freddie Galvis is too good of a defender to be making those type of mistakes, and he's made a few of them. I'd have to correlate that to the injuries and him being nicked up, him being banged up, him coming off the IL, having to wait until the middle of August to actually get him, right? I mean, there's a lot of different factors on the Freddie Galvis play that we've seen to this point. The pop's there in the bat, which is magnificent, but you can't give away outs. This team constantly gives away outs, and they constantly lose when they give away outs. It's amazing, and especially against a team that's leading their division. Hey, jerk-offs, probably not the best time to do it. If you're going to do it against the Orioles, so maybe you can slip on by. Do it against the Pirates. Maybe you can still win the baseball game. Can't be doing it against an NL Central team. Where's the sense of urgency? Where's the sense of urgency? With Nola struggling lately, why wouldn't Joe put JT behind the plate? JT's banged up. JT is banged up. That's what we're dealing with here, right? I kind of talked about this in the post-game press conference, or I did not have a post-game presser, although that would be pretty funny. In the post-game show, like, everyone's pointing the finger at Joe. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you do this? There's so many problems that there's a big domino effect on how Joe Girardi can handle this. Why isn't he behind the plate? Because he's got a shoulder problem, a serious shoulder problem. Why did he have to pull Aaron Nola? Because he sucked. He sucked. Why'd you put in Rosso? Because you had to pitch a bullpen game. Why did you have to pitch a bullpen game? Because your number 5 starter stinks. Why do you have to use Matt Moore? Because Chase Anderson failed. Why did you have to use Chase Anderson? Because Vince Velasquez failed. Why did you have to use Vince Velasquez? Because this team has so many damn problems, and their acquisitions that they picked up for the fifth starters both didn't complete their job. Where's Zach Eflin? He's injured. I mean, there's so many things. You can just keep looking down. The cause and the effect, the cause and the effect, the cause and the effect. Why is this all happening? There's a cause and effect. It's not just random. Everyone's healthy, and he's just deciding to go with Rosso, deciding to go with JT, not behind the plate. No, if he could have his way, this wouldn't be how it is. But unfortunately, you're stuck in this scenario. Yeah, well, the good thing is Colorado stinks on the road. They're good at home. Good thing the Braves played them in Colorado. They stink on the road. But that doesn't mean a damn thing. Stink, not stink, great, bad, average. It doesn't matter with the Phillies. You don't know what version of the Phillies you're going to get, and that's the more disappointing thing. Yeah, I know you're not like specifically targeting in on Joe and saying that it's 1,000% his fault or anything. But that mindset, though, has been through Phillies Twitter, through Phillies fans, all throughout the last handful of games when you just realize this is what it is, right? Like, this is what it is. This is the product you're given when all the circumstances play out over the last week. This is all you have on this night. It really stems from Aaron Nola sucked. Aaron Nola sucked. Aaron Nola sucked. If Aaron Nola didn't suck, nobody's pointing the finger at Joe. No one's talking about JT Real Muto not being behind the plate. If Aaron Nola didn't suck, Aaron Nola sucked. That was the problem. Not Joe putting in Rosso and then keeping him in after a strikeout wild pitch that blew my damn mind. No, it's because Aaron Nola sucked. And I cannot believe he didn't throw the ball that bad. And I respect all the anytime hotline callers. I love you guys so much. But there was even an anytime hotline call. I don't think he was that bad. No, he was. What are we talking about here? We got 2 strike counts, 5 hits, 5 straight hits with 2 strike counts. How is that not bad? Oh, that wasn't that bad. That's bad. That's bad. That's your job as a starting pitcher. Put away guys. Put away guys. Doesn't help when your offense can't get going. Dinky singles throughout the night. Barely any hits throughout the beginning stages. No jump. No juice. Right from the start of the game. What do you think's going to happen? No, now we're going too far. Nola needs a change of scenery. This isn't a change of scenery thing. This is a mechanical issue. He's been fine in Philly. This is the worst year he's ever had. So this isn't a, look, I can't believe I'm seeing things like this. Aaron Nola's on the Ben Simmons category now. He's not even close. Not even close to Ben Simmons. Aaron Nola is like Carson Wentz. Let me say this again. Not even close to those guys. Come on now. The expectations of Aaron Nola was never Ben Simmons, which is the best player in the entire league. That was the ceiling. LeBron James 2.0, the Prince. That's where we were talking about him. We had Carson Wentz for the next 10 years. He was an MVP caliber. Even after Aaron Nola had the Cy Young year, and he was in there by nomination level, but not because he was really going to win it. No one thought he was going to win it. It was just cool for him to be nominated that Cy Young year. No one thought he was just going to constantly post Cy Young numbers every year and be Jacob deGrom or Garrett Cole or Justin Verlander or anything outrageous like that. He was just a very, very good pitcher. So stop it with the holding him to this Ben Simmons and Carson Wentz level as if that's the level of frustration this fan base has with him. No, there's frustration with him, yes. It doesn't even sniff Ben Simmons and Carson Wentz. I agree, Lynx. If you end up winning this series tonight, it kind of changes the perspective on things, though. It's a little bit easier to swallow. It's not as hard. It's not as hard emotionally on us. Win the damn series. Just look at it from a broad approach, even though you'll be worried about Aaron Nola's next start, because guess what? He's going to start again. And it's going to be an even more intense game because you're only going to be deeper into the season at this point. Every game moving forward gets that much tighter. So, yeah, when I start pulling back the layers, I will start getting annoyed and upset thinking about Aaron Nola. But from the surface, if you squeeze out of Milwaukee winning 2 or 3, all right, let's see what we got at home against Colorado. I think we're getting too used to change of scenery. Well, there's reality to it. There is something that is, like that's truth in sports. There's validity to saying someone needs a change of scenery. Aaron Nola is not that, though. Aaron Nola is not at that point of, it is toxic. It's so bad. It's so awful that he needs to get out of here to reset his brain. No, he just needs to work on his mechanics. It's just, it's getting too far. Oh, no. Well, guess what, Lynx? I hate to break it to you. That word that starts with an I and that's 2 letters, if. You've been saying if all year. Been saying if all year. If we can put the pieces together, we can go on a good run. If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. I guess we can't say that in 2021, huh? It's one of my favorites, though. I'm not going to lie. It's a good statement. Oh, I got a nice email here. Always getting emails during Coffee with Brodes. I guess that makes a lot of sense. It's that 9, 10 a.m. hour-ish. That's kind of when things are going. Then I get the ones where it's like, hey, your car warranty. It's like, I don't need you. I have my Yahoo email address from when I was, 10 years old, and I still get all sorts of crazy emails about things. The problem is we don't have the pieces. Yeah, that's correct. We don't have the pieces to put them together. You are absolutely right. Here's a curveball here. No pun intended with Aaron Nola's disgrace last night with the curveball specifically. Never heard. What did you think of the Sean Couturier deal? I think it's fantastic in terms of AAV for where he's at right now in his deal. 7.75 for a top line center who gives you the two-way game that Sean Couturier gives you. It's a fantastic signing for right now. It's something where you get him cheaper early, and then later on in the contract, you're spending big money. So when he's 36, 37, 35, he'll be getting paid 7.75, and it might be of a bit of a heftier contract. But right now, when he's in more of the prime of his career and he can hang with the best of them and really produce for you as a first-line center and dominate in that way, you're getting him for a cheaper deal, considering how some of these players are getting paid around the league. $9 million, $9.5 million. Some guys are sniffing double digits these days. So, basically to get him at 7.75, top-line center with the ability to play two-way, the way that he does, the leadership qualities that he brings. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. These are the type of moves you make when you have franchise forever guys or franchise 98% of their career type of guys. So I think it's fantastic. Towards the back end, it'll be a little hefty, but in the beginning, you're getting him at a bargain. And with Joel Farabee, that young, scoring 20 goals last year in 56 games, signed an extension. It seems like there's a good core here being built for the next handful of years. They did add some older guys, though. Atkinson's older. Ellis is older. Yandel is older. Ristolainen's in a good range, though. Farabee's in a good range. Hayes is in a good range. TK's in a good range. So you have a good mix of both. Scott Lawton's in a good range, age-wise. You just have a combination of good things throughout, for sure. But I'm excited for Flyers hockey. There's no denying that. Which team has been the most frustrating to me over the last few years? Probably the Phillies, because while the Sixers have been heartbreaking, they get us to the second round, Game 7, Kawhi Leonard on the road. That's a more heartbreaking loss and a more devastating loss in the moment. But think about why I'm upset. Because they were one game away from the Eastern Conference Finals. Because they had an opportunity to go to the third round of the playoffs. The Phillies have just been such a disgusting, disgraceful baseball team for so long now. They're not even giving you the opportunity. So I look at it as there's a difference between frustrating because they lose in a big moment and then frustrating because they can't even get to the big moment. They're not even close to getting to a serious big moment. I'm talking deep postseason runs. So I would have to say the Phillies, because the Flyers, while they're inconsistent, every other year we do sniff it, and you're one game away from the Eastern Conference Finals in the bubble 2 seasons ago. So it's not the Flyers, even though I'm upset with them, and I am frustrated with their flip-flopping. And with the Eagles, it's been ugly. They also won a Super Bowl. I'd have to go with the Phillies, because the other teams are at least involved. I don't like the way the Eagles went about making the playoffs with Doug Peterson at 9-7. After falling back 4-6, after falling back 5-7. and having to dig yourself out of a hole every single year. I didn't love the way it happened, but ultimately, it's a lot better than what the Phillies have given me. So I'm going to go with Phillies. I'm going to go with Phillies. Arm Ziemer chimes in about Sean Couturier. The Coots deal was a great move. I get the years are scary, but it's probably the only way he would sign. Yeah, you got to give everyone got what they were looking for. The Flyers signed him for a long term. They got him strapped up. He got his money because it was spread out over years, and you got him at a cap hit that now can give you an advantage to work around it with a player that will give you more than 7.75 worthy type of play. But then towards the back end, maybe not so much. But when you have these players like Cootsie at this point in their career, you keep them. You don't just let these players walk. You keep them. And it's at a reasonable clip. And just like we saw with Voracek, let's say, and there are no trade clause except for the last year and things of that nature. But let's say things do happen later on, as you saw with Voracek, you can move them. Now, once again, no trade clause and things of that nature, but it's not impossible if willing to move that no trade clause. Sean just wants to make this statement here. I hate Ben Simmons. Thank you, Sean, for your contributions to the show. Come on in to Coffee with Brodes, 9:43 in the morning. I have something to share. I hate Ben Simmons. We all do here, man. We all do here. We're very frustrated with him. Videos on Instagram, pictures on Instagram. He's playing the game at this point. He's trolling. He knows what he's doing. But what are you going to do? I mean, what can you possibly do about it as a fan? I just block it out. That's why I don't watch the videos. I don't comment on the videos. I don't do anything with them. I don't follow him on social media. Quite frankly, I just don't allow it to bother me. But there are some that can't. They can't eliminate themselves from the issues of Ben Simmons. So it's like Ben every day until he gets traded. I'll worry about the Phillies. I'll worry about Couturier's contract. I'll worry about Farabee. I'll worry about the Eagles. I will remove myself from that until I can. There's always times where it's going to pop up, where you can't do anything about it. When Keith Pompey drops a story about Ben Simmons and Rich Paul and talking to Maury and talking to Elton Brand, and they want out of here, they demand a trade. Okay, that's fine. I'll absolutely resurface. But when we're talking Instagram videos and all that nonsense, I got other things to worry about. By the way, did you see this T.O. story? That T.O. said he'd knock Donovan McNabb out? These two are so funny, man. I'll tell you what. So damn funny. T.O. on Donovan McNabb. I knock him out. Just amazing with these two, isn't it? I wonder if Ben realizes how clownish he looks posting workout videos. We don't believe you. No, I mean, to him, he goes, look at my cars. Look at my wrist. Look at the women I date. Look at my house in L.A. Look at what I'm doing at Wimbledon. Right? I mean, that's what he says. He ain't worried about a YouTube comment about saying clownish, Like, I'm not coming at you with that statement. I'm just saying in general, if you put yourself in his shoes, that's what he's going to say. Look at my bank account. Look at my wrist. Look at my chicks. Look at my money. Look at my cars. Look at the way that I live. You can say I'm a clown all you want, but look at what I'm doing. You're following me on Instagram. You're following me on Twitter. That's the type of mindset that Ben Simmons has. Maybe that's a part of the problem. While Joel Embiid is tweeting out there, when you guys boo me, I use that to fuel my fire. I use that to get better. I use that to motivate me. While Ben Simmons is flipping it around, I'm better than you. Yeah, but I have this. I have that. While Joel is going, I'll be in the lab. I'll be going back to the gym and working on my craft. And I'll make sure that I dominate so you won't boo me again, so you won't shush me again. And then I don't know if this was a subtweet or not, but Joel, after those series of tweets, said, but that's not how everybody works. Was that a little jab? Speaking about knocking out, T.O. wants to knock out Donovan McNabb or thinks he can. Speaking of that, is that a little jab at Benjamin Simmons? After so many, attempts of asking him to shoot the damn basketball? The curse of 2016 continues. There's no curse of 2016. I think that's a reach. Just two players. It's not 50. If there was 50 players from 2016, I'd say the year was cursed. Two, it's Different. Brodes, do I think the sports agents, especially the NBA, have too much say? Yeah, they do. I don't know how you fix that though, and it's clearly not easy, or else it would have been done by now. What's happening is the players are getting the contracts are getting so big. I think that's where it all stems from because they're making so much money. The contract, the deals, everything is getting so massive that because they're getting paid so much, they have more power, I guess. Like I really do think it believes with all the money that's being generated. So, yeah, but yeah, they do. They do. And I don't know how to fix that because once they demand, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And because you need them to win the NBA, you need LeBron. If LeBron's sitting out of a team, right, saying, like, I'm not playing, he would never do that. But if he's, I'm not playing, I'm out. I'm out of here. I'm not doing it. Think about where that team is now. Really. Oh, yeah, they're going to go win a championship? Fuck no. You need him. That's why, especially in the NBA, you need those players. You need those superstars. Without those superstars, you don't have a chance. And the owners know that. The teams know that. The organizations know that. The agents know that. When the agents know that, you have them by the testicles. When you have them by the testicles, you can run the asylum. So that's really how it all works. It's like how important one player is to the NBA team is basically where this all begins, plus the money and how much they get compensated and all. And that's really where it starts, though. King Street, or Street, is that what that is? King Street, or the 11 supposed to be T, so it's King Street. I don't know, but he claims that Joel Embiid is his spirit animal. I like Joel. Obviously, I love Joel. I don't know why I said it like that. I did not agree with his thread, though, on Twitter. Some of that made me feel it was damage control. Ownership wanted him to tweet something out about Ben. Hey, I like playing with Ben. I want to run it back with Ben so Daryl Morey can try and grab some leverage back. The very limited amount of leverage that's even in play in that moment from such a simple little tweet. But I really do believe that's what was going on there. I didn't like Joel tweeting that, though, personally. If he was informed, fine, I understand. If he wasn't, I don't like it. Just, no reason to take jab at the fans. There's no reason. There's no benefit. What's the upside? There's never any positive things that happen in that case. Now, there are some athletes that can get away with it and they won't lose support. No one's going to hate on Joel Embiid at this moment. No one's going to say, you know what, I don't like Joel Embiid anymore because of that tweet. He is in his own little world of, Philly sports dominance and relationship with the fans and all. And so he can get away with it. Maybe he did it because he knows he can get away with it, but doesn't mean that I agree with it and like it. This is just a intense statement right off the bat here about what Devontae Smith, it's what you want him to be, but we're throwing him in Jerry Rice category before a snap. And I'm not saying you're saying he's going to be, but the fact that you want him, I want him to be Jerry Rice. Me too. I want Quez Watkins to be that too. I want Jalen Reagor to be that too. I want every receiver to ever put on an Eagles uniform too to be the next Jerry Rice. You kidding me? Of course, yeah. Yeah, me too. I can't wait to see what this offense looks like. Are we going to get a lot of, I see the way that San Francisco gets creative with end rounds and sweeps and things of that nature. I want to see more creativity involved with this offense. I want to see Quez Watkins and that speed being utilized uniquely. I want to see Jalen Reagor, and I'm excited for Jalen Reagor. I am. I was up on him early, then down on him in the middle. It's funny. While everyone hated the pick, I liked the pick. Then he started to show a little bit of signs in training camp, and I didn't really buy it, but everybody else seemed to buy it. And now I'm in a spot where I at least saw him make some plays throughout training camp and preseason that I've never seen him make before. So because of that, I'm starting to get a little bit more amped up for what I might see out of Jalen Reagor this season. So, just what is the offense going to look like? DH believes the Eagles are going to be 4-13. I see them at 6-11. I don't know if they're going to have the same win total as last year. Think about how devastating last season really played out, and that was a 4-win football team. I'll give them 6-11, but I'm not giving you much, pride in terms of going out there and competing at the top of the division or anything. I would say 6-11 is way better than 4-13, but definitely not anything wild. 6-11 would be the under with their over/under according to DraftKings, and you can, of course, go to DraftKings Sportsbook, download the app, utilize their phenomenal promotions and odd boost by signing up with promo code Brodes. Johnster thinks 7-10. Jason believes they're a 9-win football team. This is John, sir. See, come on. This is a problem here. You can't give that much of a gap. That's a big gap. It's a big gap. Like I remember, and this was with a producer who no longer works there because he got another opportunity, and I'm excited for him there. But Nat Marlowe, me and him did a lot of work together on the weekends at the Fanatic. And he said, if the team played their best, they could go 16-1. And if they played their worst, they could go 0-17. And I'm like, I mean, you can say that about any team, right? Teams that win the Super Bowl don't even go 15. Well, of course, now the 17 games in there, but 16-1. That's an asinine statement. You can't make that statement. You can say that about any team. If they're ceiling 16-0 and their floor is 0-16, well, yeah, of course. This kind of falls in that category to me. 3-14 and 9-8 is such an extreme gap that's so extreme. I would say more of their floor is 4-13 and their ceiling is 7. That kind of thing, right? Like, I mean, that falls in that category of like, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just such a big gap for me. You could basically be put in the same category as, well, they could go 16-1 on their best day, and they can go 0-17 on their worst days. And that's kind of the floor and ceiling. That kind of falls in that category for me. Maybe not to the same extreme, but it still falls in that category once we think of such a major gap. There's just too many unknowns. That's what that tells me, is we know nothing about this team. The fact that it could be so low and it could be so high, it just tells you, like, we don't know. We know nothing. If you know more about your team, if you know more about your concepts, if you know more about how they're going to run, you have more of an idea of their beliefs and their concepts and what you can base it off of. Well, I've seen them do this before and it was successful. I've seen them try this and it's an area that they struggle. You got none of it. You have none of that. DH believes that 6-11 is fair. That might be the first time, DH, that you've come in here and said something that wasn't, I'm an idiot and I like Howie Roseman. Because I swear all you say is you love Howie Roseman too much. You have that copy and pasted. So when you come into the comments section, if you come into a live stream, that's all you say. So I'm surprised by you actually giving me a fair assessment. I don't even know what to do. I don't even know if I can operate the rest of the day. I might just shut it down from here. I don't know if it could get much better than that. Can it? Are we basically are we at the peak? Are we at our ceiling right now as a show? It's possible. It's definitely possible. Let's look at the plus side with the Eagles. We're going into the season healthy. I love that, Jose. That's why I wasn't upset about the preseason thing. Last year, the preseason and just injuries in general, you were always hurt. You're always hurt. I want to be hurt. I want to go in. I want to watch the players that I want to watch play. That's what we're here for. Sure, you can get hurt in practice. You can get hurt in other ways. You can get hurt in the joint practices and the non-joint practices. You can get hurt at any point. I'm with you. I understand. With that said, though, I want to see week 1, all the players out there and available. If it's a little rusty, it's a little rusty, so be it. Every team's going to be rusty. See, the gap between the third preseason game and week 1 regular season is 2 weeks. You throw 9 passes 2 weeks ago, and you think those 9 passes are going to be the difference in being rusty and not rusty is foolish. And even if you threw some passes earlier in preseason as well, there's such a big gap. That 9 throws, 10 throws, that's not the difference. 9 throws 2 weeks ago is not the difference in beating the Atlanta Falcons on the road or not. I hate to break it to you. It's just not. That's why I never understood the whole preseason argument and how it got to the level of extreme that it did. Some kid tweeted at me on Twitter, Brodes, show me a team that had success without playing any sort of players in preseason. Okay, the Los Angeles Rams, Sean McVay, a very well-run organization right now that made the Super Bowl. They didn't win it. But it wasn't because they didn't take preseason snaps. And the response was, LOL, okay, if you say so. I'm giving you facts. I'm giving you what you're asking for. Let me know a team that has ever succeeded. Okay, the Rams have success. The Rams have sustained success. They did it with Jared Goff, too, who a lot of people claim absolutely stinks. So, yeah, they did it. And they constantly are good. They are constantly competitive without preseason. Well, yeah, but no, no, not but. I'm telling you, you can't diminish that. And there's other teams as well. There's not a right or wrong way, right? Just because Andy Reid does something, who those same people claimed was an idiot when he was here and he'll never win the big game. Now all of a sudden you've got to do everything Andy Reid does. Doesn't add up. Oh, Jim wants to end this bad boy on some Phillies notes. Big, big game tonight. Harper gonna harp. Let's go, Phils. We'll end it there. I'm excited for tonight. We get the Phils, we get the Fightins, we got Kyle Gibson. Hopefully they can give us a better outing than what we saw yesterday because that was miserable to the point where U.S. Open became more of a focal point for me than the Phillies, and that's bad. That should not be the case ever. And I love tennis, and it's not random for that to happen because I thoroughly enjoy tennis. But when the Phillies in September baseball and it becomes 8-0 and there's errors and actually, that was actually labeled a Freddie Galvis hit. Or there was a hit with Freddie Galvis's misplay. What else was there? Oh, Rosso with that 6th inning strikeout for the 3rd out. You went from 1, 2, 3 inning to a strikeout wild pitch. You got the walk. You got the singles. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. What a mess. All right, everyone. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today on Coffee with Brodes. You're the best. We're inching our way towards an Eagles season. We got, what, 2 more? Well, we got football tomorrow, which is amazing, and we'll talk about that along with what happens tonight. We'll talk about tomorrow, too. Thank you, guys. You're the best. You're the greatest.